It's midnight on is that Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday's Australian time. So the Wednesday session in the US is about to start. So I've just been doing a bit of an assessment of what I want to put on. One of my early experiences in the trading room when I worked for the bank was I was trading an interest rate options book at the time, and you never square. Like running an options book, you never square, right? The old saying, one guy used to say, I squared up today, and then tomorrow I'm going to square up some more. Like you never square. That's the kind of business, and that's hung over into how I trade now. I'm not that good at sitting on the sidelines. I want to be in the game. Patience is actually like a real virtue in trading, in my trading since I've left work, because patience is a luxury. Being square is a luxury that I never had when I was in the business. Having said that, I'm looking at where we are now, and it is the red line that I had. It's been crossed, but it is in still a bit of, no man's land, right? Doesn't really, no new trend has started this downward leg. To state the obvious, right? It's it's either potentially something like that. I think at most. I think given the support we had here, it's unlikely for it to come back to the targets that I had in mind around 4,000. Not out of the question, but the chances are slim. I think something like that is probably pretty reasonable, which is similar to what we had here before we have another consideration about what to do next. Something like that is on the cards, of course. I mean, all these things are on the cards. But, I think we're in for something a bit more like that, which is, like this pullback. And I guess a little bit like this one. I think the repercussions of this are probably a little bit too... really a little bit too solid for it to hit new highs. So having said that, one of the things that I look at for my trading in terms of swing trading is the RSIs. Obviously there's a danger of trading the RSIs and not trading the market, because these things can overrun. I remember back here when I was looking at this level 44.80, thinking it's a good sell, it's going to turn. It was overbought. It doesn't take much. That's like a good 50 point, 40, 50 point run through and extended that overbought. You can see here, like it does, it really can shoot through and stay overbought for some time, from there to there. That's like it was 43.10 to 43.50. That's 40 points. When I look at it in the Australian market, I always kind of, budget on about 100 points for an overrun from when it's overbought or oversold to where it ever actually turns. In the US market, that translates to around about 40, 50 points, something like that, right? So to me, I'm looking at the level now and kind of thinking, that's a pretty good sell for a risk reward, right? To me, that's the trade to put on that I've put on. Again, this is education, not financial advice, right, as we say. So to me, it's not a bad level because the all-time high is 45.50. We're at 45.25, so that's 25 points. I've got to stop up here. And the target is anywhere from, anywhere up to down here, like, up to 250 points, maybe here 200 points, maybe here 100 points. They're the kind of levels that I've got in mind. I mean, that one, even 50 points, right? So to me, it's risking 20 points, right, to make anywhere between 45 and 250. And that's based on it's been overbought in the 4 hourlies, good turning point, good turning point, good turning point, good turning point, good turning point. On the 2 hourlies, negative divergence. So we've got overbought in the 4s, negative divergence on the 2 hours, negative divergence on the 1 hour, no doubt on the 15 minutes, negative divergence as well, and hasn't cycled over sold. And at the same time, when I look at the 15 minutes, it's at a interesting level for breaking that trend. Now, there's a couple of schools of thought for what could happen here for this little consolidation. All right. One of them is if you look at the moving average and look at it on, like a longer time frame, maybe like a 30 or something like that. And let's go out to an hour. One school of thought is similar to this, right? You're going sideways, you're running off the clock before it hits the moving average and it shoots up again. Okay, that's one school of thought. Another school of thought is, this is a trend overbought on the RSIs, coming with negative divergence, potential top, right? I guess the thing to signal to look for is what happens really in the next couple of hours. I mean, it's an hourly chart. Next couple of hours as the US market opens, to see what happens with this choppy action through here. Is it going to break 45.26 to the upside? Is it going to break 45.13, 45.12 to the downside? That's the kind of range. Now, I'm a bit more of an aggressive trader, and I tend to hop on the bus before you really know where it's going. There are certainly guys that trade the breakout, and they'll wait for a move up or down, and then they'll hop on. That's really safer money, to wait until you know where the bus is before you hop on, but it's not my style. So my style is certainly riskier, and it leads to, I guess, more volatile results. But they said you've got to know, as Clint Eastwood used to say, a man's got to know his limitations. That's one of my limitations, and I just go with it and manage it. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. I've got, a stop up here at, 45.45, and that will be really quite a clear breakout of this little consolidation pattern in here. To me, it's not a bad level. There was certainly a bit of support and resistance through here. It is overbought on the 4 hourly, as I said, coming off, massive strength. I mean, that's very heavily overbought. We've really had a good, 200 point, literally almost near vertical move. I think we're due for a pullback, at least to the red line, maybe further south. If it goes back to red line, I'll probably just cash it in, or some of it anyway. So that's what I've got on see what unfolds tonight, and I guess the jury is really still out. I mean, it's a short-term proposition for me. The jury is really out to see what happens over the coming sessions, to see, are we going to regather, recoup that high and off we go, or are we going to do a bit of a move that we saw back in September, October, November last year? Funnily enough, time of year. That was from beginning of September through to the end of October, right? Are we going to see that here? And as I said, at the moment, from this, that literally was the 2nd of September through to, when did it finish? The low, the 29th of October. And was that the 2nd of September? Well, that was the high, wasn't it? Talk about lightning striking. So to me, 41 bars, 40 bars. Let's make this 41 bars. That would be interesting to see, this repeat. I mean, August, September, October, dodgy months, selling may go away, all that kind of thing. But so far, it's looking remarkably similar, where we had like a high right at the beginning of September, high right at the beginning of September. It's literally to the day. Or was it? The day. It's the 6th of September. The 3rd was the day before. The 3rd was a Friday. Yeah, so it was either the 3rd or the 6th. I mean, they were like really like bugger all difference between them. Back here, what's that one? That was the 2nd. The 2nd, and then the 3rd it turned. And then the low when it turned was like literally the last day in October, the 30th of October. Where's the 30th of October here? Let's make it there, 30th of October. It's coming up on the 29th. So, it's, what was the high to low from there? High to low from there. Well, that's 10%, 12%, pretty punchy, hey? And we're not that. We've only been like half that, right? What's that? 6%. So, September, October last year, September, October this year, came down, bounced back, came down, don't know, shot back up and away we went. Who knows, right? For me, that's looking pretty good for me to short it there. That's what I've done. Let's see how we go. Have a good night, jet setters. Ciao.